Something that nobody tells you about making good money is that the ruts hit different. When you're broke and you're at a rut, at least the pressure of needing to survive pushes you out of the rut eventually. But when you're already doing well, when your bills are paid, when the business is running, and there's nothing forcing you out, you can basically afford to stay stuck. And that is why exactly so many entrepreneurs and successful people stay stuck way longer than they should be. And personally, I've been through this multiple times where everything on the outside absolutely looks fine. My business is making money, my clients are happy, and my bank account is more than solid. But internally, I just feel off. Like I'm waking up later, or I'm skipping the things that I know should be doing, and essentially I'm just coasting, I'm just chilling. And the most dangerous part is that nobody around me even notices, because the results haven't caught up to the decline yet, but they eventually will. They always do. But by the time that they do, you just are so deep into the rut that climbing out of it just feels impossible. So here's how I actually get out of it. I'm not talking about the Instagram version of just be disciplined, bro, or go on monk mode. I'm talking about the real version, the version that actually works when you genuinely just don't feel like doing the things that you know you should be doing, where no matter what you do, you just can't get out of it. Here's what I realized is actually happening when I'm in a rut. When you're essentially building, when you're on the way up, you essentially have all these habits and routines that got you there in the first place. We're talking about waking up early, working out, meditating, all that stuff. And you basically have your own version of this. So whatever your version is of that, just relate it to that. And essentially every single day that you do those things, you're essentially making a promise to yourself and you're keeping that promise. And so your mind trusts you. And because your mind trusts you, you'll move with confidence. You'll make good decisions and things will kind of just work out the way that, you know, they're supposed to work out. Then what ends up happening is that you hit a certain level of success and then you just start to slip. So you might start slipping a little bit here and there. You might skip the gym one day, you'll wake up an hour later the other day, and then you just tell yourself, oh, I'll just do this thing tomorrow. And that one broken promise might not seem like a big deal. You're like, oh, like whatever. It doesn't matter if I wake up a day later, or if I don't go to the gym today, or I don't do this thing that I'm supposed to do. But the issue is that your mind noticed. Your mind keeps a scoreboard of every single promise you make to yourself and whether or not you keep it. And after enough broken promises, something internally in your mind shifts. Your mind stops trusting you. So you're going to say like, oh, I'm going to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow. And somewhere deep inside in your mind, your own brain just goes like, no, you're not. You know, because you said that 15 times and you've done it only twice. And so now you're in a rut because you've destroyed your own credibility with yourself. And here's the part that nobody talks about. This doesn't just stay internally within yourself. If you don't trust your own word, other people can feel it. It shows up on your sales calls. It shows up in your content. It shows up in how you carry yourself. You walk into a room and there's kind of like this energy of someone who's not fully in their power, because you're not fully in your power, because the person who you're pretending to be and the person you actually are right now, they don't match. And people always sense that gap. They always do. Now, here's where ego kind of makes it even worse. So we have this initial problem, and now ego comes along and makes it like 10 times worse. When a successful person realizes that they're in a rut, what do they usually do? Well, they try to fix it overnight. They'll set the alarm for 6 a.m. They'll write out this insane schedule all over their calendar. They'll tell themselves like, okay, starting Monday, bro, I'm locking back in, I'm so back. And then what happens? Well, they might do it for a day, maybe two, and then they'll fail again. And now they haven't just broken a promise, they've broken the biggest promise possible, which is the I'm gonna get my shit together promise. And that failure compounds, because every time you try to reset and you fail, your mind trusts you even less. So here's what I actually do. I'm going to make it sound so simple, almost too simple, but that is literally the entire point. I treat my life exactly how people treat the gym. If you haven't been to the gym in 6 months, you don't walk to try what you were bench pressing before, right? Because if you did, you just hurt yourself. Well, you start light. You start to rebuild the muscle over again. You do essentially progressive overload. It's the same thing with your mind and your habits. If I've been waking up at like 12 and I've been in a rut, and my goal is to get back to waking up every single day at 6 a.m., but I haven't been able to actually wake up every time I set my alarm for 6, I just can't wake up. So what I do is, instead of setting my alarm for 6 a.m., I don't even try to set it at like 10 and be like, oh, I'm going to wake up 2 hours before. I literally set it for 11:30. And I know what you're basically saying, like, bro, what 11:30? That's like basically the same thing as 12. You didn't really improve. What's the point? The point isn't the time. The point is the promise. I made a promise to myself to wake up at 11:30 and I kept it. My mind essentially registered that. It registered that as one rep. It registered that as one kept promise. And now tomorrow I can push back my alarm to 11:15, and then the next day I can push it back to 11. And every single day I'm rebuilding the muscle of self-trust. And I'm doing that through reps that are literally impossible to fail. Even if I tried to fail, I literally could not, because it's basically so close to what I was doing anyways. I might as well just do the thing. That is the key principle. You need to set tasks for yourself that are impossible to fail. If you think you can wake up at 10, cool. Don't set your alarm for 10. Set it at 10:30. I want you to remove any chance of failure, because right now you cannot afford a broken promise. Your self-trust account is simply overdrawn. You need deposits, not withdrawals. And a small deposit is infinitely times better than an ambitious withdrawal. And you can apply this to literally everything, not just waking up. Let's just say if you haven't been working out, I don't want you to commit to like saying, okay, I'm gonna go do 1 hour at the gym tomorrow. No, I want you to just commit to showing up. Like, you know, if you walk into the gym and you just look around, you don't even pick up a dumbbell, and you just go back into your car and go back home, that's literally a win. Like, just do that, and just that will just be your goal, right? If let's just say you haven't been doing your outreach, right? I don't want you to commit sending 50 DMs a day and be like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to send 50 messages. I don't want you to do that. I want you just to commit to sending one particular message. Focus on the one impossibly small thing. I want you to keep the promise, and then you'll build the muscle, and then you'll add weight. That's literally what happens in the gym. That happens with everything in life. And so when you do that, what happens is, and this is what happens with every time that I've done this, is that after a week or so of keeping my own promises, something kind of clicks. Your mind starts trusting you again, and you kind of just lock back in. And once that trust is back, the confidence that you have returns, the energy that you had returns, the momentum returns, because you earned it back. And you earned it back 1 rep at a time. You didn't do this crazy thing where you spent like a whole day being locked in from you just like a couple weeks before. You were being an absolute degenerate. You were not locked in at all. You were just goofing around all day. Now, the biggest mistakes that I've made, and I've watched so many other people make this, is the feeling that you don't have enough time, that you've been in a rut for a month or 2 months, and now it's like you just feel behind. You feel like you've wasted all this time, and you have this like urgency of like, I need to catch up like now. This is what's actually keeping you stuck, because it pushes you to make big promises that you cannot keep, and then you break them, and then the next thing that you know, you're even deeper in the hole. So here's what I had to learn. You have so many days ahead of you. You have so many, like, you've wasted tons of days before, and you're still here. You're still breathing. Your business is still running, and the world didn't end because you had a bad month. The urgency is a lie that your ego tells you, because it cannot handle the idea of going slow. Your ego wants the dramatic comeback. The guys, I woke up at 4 a.m., I ran 10 miles, and I closed 3 deals. Like, it wants to tell that story, but that's not how real recovery works. Real recovery, and you can literally ask any sort of athlete this, like us as online entrepreneurs and as high performing entrepreneurs, we are literally professional athletes in our own sort of sport. If you ask any athlete, they're going to tell you that real recovery is boring. It's setting an alarm 5 minutes earlier than you would have, or just showing up to the gym and not even lifting any weights, but just the fact that you promised yourself to do something and then you went is very impressive. Like, you cannot expect going from like full on party mode, and I know some entrepreneurs who like to take the summers off and they go full party mode. You can't expect to kind of take full party mode and then decide to like come back to work and just show up like this from day one and be 100% effective all the time. No, you have to take your time recovering, and you have to make sure to account that in your plans and everything. And the thing is, when you recover this way, when you recover in the way that I just shared with you in this video, you're not just getting out of a rut, you're building something permanent. Every kept promise is essentially a brick. And after a month of keeping promises, you're not just back to where you were, you're more solid than you were before, because now you've proven to yourself that even when you fail, even when you fall off, right, you can rebuild through your own trust. That is the difference between someone who gets out of a rut and stays out versus someone who just yo-yos back and forth for years, from being locked in into then going into a rut, then locked in, then being into a rut. And so if you're in a rut right now, I want you to stop trying to fix it overnight. I want you to stop making promises that you can't keep. Your mind already doesn't trust you, and so don't give it another reason not to. Instead, make one tiny promise, something that is absolutely so small it's almost embarrassing, and I want you just to keep it. And then tomorrow you just make another one, and then you keep that one too, and you just keep going. Because at the end of the day, being the person that you say you are is about keeping your own promises. And that's what makes you cohesive as a person. That's what makes you trustworthy, not just to other people, but also to yourself.